Hey everybody, welcome back to our channel and welcome back to another India travel guide.
In this video we're going to be covering the 20 things that you need to know before you go.
Hey, one got here.
So in there? Oh jeez, we're at to get all of it. Right, back on to Amanda.
In here?
40, is that what you were paying?
Yeah.
Why 100 for us?
No, trying to put a faster one on us. That's not nice. This is India. We're in India.
Yeah, he wasn't too happy. He was gesturing a little bit to your man, and then man just stops and shouts back. We can cross trekking in India off the old bucket list. Good. Let's rock and roll. We're under massive pressure here. Do you want me to pose? What would you like me to do? Thank you.
In this video we're going to be covering a variety of topics such as food, cost, transportation, safety and so much more.
I'd say my mum is watching and her nerves are gone.
I'm about to be hit by a bus. Sorry.
Some animals eat the coffee bean, then they will collect the poo, then drain, then need to make the powder.
That's a joke, is it?
I can't believe we're swimming in the Arabian Sea.
No.
Oh my
God.
Oh my god, it's gorgeous.
Oh my god. ¿Cómo estás?
Amigos.
Oh, that's Spanish.
Spanish.
That's what.
Alive? Oh, jeez.
Alive? Oh, Jesus, sorry, guys.
It's a bit nerve-wracking walking around, to be honest with you. Here they are here.
Yes, we're just here at the bus station now. Huh? I said it already, but I'm really impressed. Is that okay? Yeah, because we actually thought we were together anyway, so that would be great if you could take them too.
Yeah, number 12, is it?
Yeah, 00, number 12, and the bus number is 444. I'm never doing an overnight bus again in India. Trains all the way.
Wouldn't be an Indian adventure if it wasn't a bit of chaos thrown in.
So first up on our list is a visa. So obviously everything that we're going to talk about in today's video will mean absolutely nothing unless you can get into the country in the first place. So travellers visiting India typically require a visa before arrival. This can be obtained through an online application or embassy or a consulate. It is essential to check the specific visa requirements, application process and permitted duration of stay based on nationality and purpose of travel.
We got an e-visa that cost us about $40 and it was for 365 days. We actually weren't too sure how long we were going to be in India, so we just thought we'd just play it safe. But yeah, just check your own visa requirements from your own country and you'll be fine. Number 2 on the list is your itinerary. So this will obviously be down to you. For context for this video, our route started in Kerala. We went into Goa, then onto Mumbai, and then we did a trip around Rajasthan, going to Jaipur, Bikaner, Jaisalmer and Jodhpur. We finally finished our travels in India in Delhi, and overall we spent, I think it was about 3 months in total. So yeah, having a planned itinerary is a good thing to know before you go to India.
This is our driver. Smile, isn't that your name? Yeah. Smile.
What a lovely name.
Thank you.
Thank you. When you arrive into India, you are going to need internet. So we got an Indian SIM card and we went to a local shop. We did need our passport, so just bear that in mind if you are going to bring your passport with you.
We need SIMs for our phones, and the guy that runs the hotel's kindly organising us to go there and get a new SIM. So this is us. Good.
We use a network called Airtel, and I think we only paid about 650 rupee for the month, which was really good. And we had no problems with it throughout our entire trip. So yeah, we'd highly recommend using Airtel.
Number 4 on the list is the culture shock, the famous India culture shock, and it is definitely real.
It's like a scrap for every available inch to get ahead of the next person. It's like a constant race. The second you get in one, it's like just go, isn't it?
India in many ways is exactly how you expect it to be.
There is a lot of people and it's one of the most densely populated countries in the world. There's too many people. There's a lot of noise, a lot of smells and frantic atmosphere.
A little bit of a traffic jam here. Hi! They're gonna hit that bike! He's gonna hit that bike!
Roads are a little bit crazy. There's not really much order to the road, so it is a little bit of a free-for-all. Just have to wait for a gap to cross the road. There's no pedestrian crossing here.
Ready?
You might find some boundary issues as well in India and some general behaviour that you may or may not be used to.
Also, the lack of sanitation might shock you because there is a lot of rubbish lying around the streets.
You also see a lot of things that you may not be used to seeing, like for example cows are everywhere.
Maybe lads.
Where we're from, we normally see cows in the fields, but in India they just walk around the streets and they even go to the beach.
They are very cute and relaxed, which is nice to see.
There's also some things that you might come across that will upset you. So for example, animal cruelty, we've seen a lot of that throughout our time in India. Also, there is poverty-stricken parts. For example, we found Mumbai to be the worst of it.
So something that might actually help you as well with the initial culture shock is to do something that we did. So what we did was we stayed in a nice hotel for about a week just to sort of settle ourselves in. We stayed in a hotel called Retrieve Health and Wellness, and this sort of just helped us get on board with the food. We also did some yoga there, and it just sort of allowed ourselves just to get into the Indian culture. So yeah, you don't actually have to do this, but we just decided it might be nice, and it really did help us.
Next up is managing your expectations when you come to India. The best thing to do is to accept how India is and move on. There is times where it's going to test you, and it is very much a love-hate relationship.
Some days it's the best place that you've ever been, and other days you want to just absolutely run out of the place, honestly. But yeah, that's what India is. It is a challenge, but it is the most interesting place that we have ever been to. So number 6 on the list is food, and more specifically street food. So Indian food is amazing, and you might have heard of Delhi belly, but don't let that scare you.
That is really, really nice. And that's like garlic powder, and there's a little bit of a spice off it. It's not too spicy.
Okay,
I think
yeah.
you'll be able for it.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, we didn't get sick once between the two of us and our 3 months there.
We've actually spoke to other people who have been to India, and we have mentioned that to them, and they think that that's absolutely incredible. So I don't know if it was just that we were just very, very lucky. To be perfectly honest, we were very selective with where we ate. So we did eat street food, but we would watch out for things like maybe there could be some rats running around, or maybe flies around the thing and stuff like that. So
you sort of know yourself when you look at the stalls. Do you know what I mean? What's clean and sort of what's not. Same with like if you're getting even drinks with ice, I think that can make a lot of people sick too. So you just sort of know by the stall, are they using sort of clean ice or like filtered water or whatever, so that can make you sick too. But yeah, we were just really, really careful, and I think we just got really lucky as well then.
Initially we kind of ate in a lot of Western restaurants, because when we did get to India we weren't too sure of what exactly to order, and then we would just go with the safe bet of a familiar food chain that we know.
It was only when we did a food tour that we got to grips with the food, and street food more importantly. And we're so glad that we did it. It really opened our eyes to Indian food, and believe me, there is no point in being in India unless you're going to eat Indian food. It really is the best.
We did actually do a vlog on our street food tour, so if you are looking for some food recommendations, we'll leave the link to that video in the description.
Okay, so number 7, drinking water. So we did actually briefly touch on that in the last one when we were talking about street food, about the filtered ice and stuff. That's one thing to note. You cannot drink the water out of the taps in India. It has to be filtered or bottled water, because you will get very sick.
We actually used bottled water to brush our teeth, and also at the very beginning we were very conscious about even swallowing any sort of water, even if we were having a shower.
I think that's just sort of natural. You're going to be like that at the beginning, but honestly, as you actually travel through it and the longer that you're there, you do relax a little bit about it, and it just sort of becomes natural.
But yeah, probably an obvious one, don't drink tap water in India. Next up on the list is the cost. Now we will do a full breakdown of our cost of our 3 months in India, but generally India is quite cheap, especially if you can compare it to European countries.
However, major companies like Starbucks, McDonald's, etc. are all going to be the same price. You really do see how affordable India is by visiting Indian restaurants, and even cheaper with street food. Accommodation can range between €15 to €50 per night depending on where you're staying. Transport is also quite affordable. We took many overnight trips which ended up being more than half the price of internal flights. The currency in India is Indian rupee, and we found ATM charges to be really good compared to other countries in Asia. Many local places only take cash, but there is many places that also accept card too, and again we will do a more detailed video on that when we do our cost breakdown of India.
Number 9 on the list is transportation. You can use Grab and Uber in India to book taxis and even rickshaws. You can also pull rickshaws on the street, and there is no end to them, they're literally everywhere. If you use one of the apps, the price will be already established before you get in. If you pull a rickshaw onto the side of the street, you will have to negotiate a price before you get in. That's kind of true, I think, anywhere, is to, have that price already set in stone before you get in the cab.
So yeah, we would recommend actually trying a Grab first, so you sort of get used to what the prices should be, and then you'll know for when you do pull a rickshaw or a taxi on the side of the street, you'll know what to expect to sort of pay.
For long distance trips, we used overnight trains and buses.
Okay, we're complete novices at this. This is both our first one.
This is new to us completely. We've never ever been on an overnight train, and our first train in India as well.
They took a lot longer, but they are a great way to save some money, and if you plan to explore different parts of India, it's a great way of getting around.
You can book tickets for these overnight trains and buses online, but we always prefer to do it in person. I just think it gave us that bit more security that we were physically holding our ticket in our hands.
Sometimes it can be a bit tricky to know exactly where to go, but in India a lot of people help you. So like we would go to, you know, the reception in a hotel, or just somebody in general to say, look, we're looking to go from here to here, and they'll be able to direct you on where to go. Yeah, and as Samantha said, we much preferred going, queuing up and you know, physically having that ticket rather than booking it online. But you can do either or. Our preferred choice was to just book it in person.
And one thing about Indian people is they are very helpful. So as Keelan said, no matter where you're staying, like whether it's a hostel, a hotel or whatever, just ask someone that's working there and they'll help you out with the tickets.
So when it comes to the overnight trains, they have different tiers. We were using the AC2. We thought them to be fine. They were reasonably priced. They're not obviously as expensive as, say, first class and things like that. One of the times we did try and get first class tickets, but they did book out. We just wanted to see what it would be like and how different it would be to the AC2. But yeah, overnight train tickets book out very, very quickly. So if you can, plan in advance.
Another way of transportation is renting a scooter. Now that may seem crazy to a lot of people, but it's actually not that bad, honestly. Now I'm saying that and I didn't drive it. Keelan was the driver, but it wasn't that bad at all. Now we didn't rent a scooter in any of the busy major cities, but we did rent a scooter in Goa, and it was really, really great for getting around. It was more coastal and open spaces. So there wasn't much traffic, just a few cows and different types of animals and other people on scooters as well, just to look out for. But like, they have a system in India as well where everyone just sort of beeps their horn to say I'm coming and sort of get out of the way, and you do pretty much, like, you get used to it very quick.
From the outside looking in, it looks like it's absolute chaos, but when you're actually driving a scooter and you're in the middle of it, it actually works. I don't know how, but
as you call it, organised chaos. That's what it's
chaos.
like. It all works.
Hello, how are you?
Hello. This is the bit I hate.
You are driving on the road in India. You just have to be brave. You have to be so aware of everything, because when you're driving at home in Ireland, you know exactly what to be looking out for. Over here, there's another 30 or 40 extra things.
So many things. That's why you say we have 4 eyes on the road, because I'm like Hawkeye on the back. I'm like, Keelan, ram. Keelan, ram.
Speaking of rams.
Keelan, a cow. Keelan, a dog.
Keelan, another bike. Keelan, another car.
It's crazy.
But somehow it works, I don't know.
It does work.
But yeah, don't be afraid to do it, especially as Samantha said, in places like Goa. You got a big space, not much traffic, and it's probably, them places are probably the best places to ride a scooter in India.
Yeah.
The added bonus is if you can drive in India, you can pretty much drive anywhere in the world. Next on the list is language. So in India, many people speak English, so we actually had no problem communicating with anybody.
And really good English, I must add in as well, so you'll never ever be stuck. Because it's funny, usually when we go to a new country, we always do like to learn the basics, whether it be hello and thank you. Because it changes so much in India, you sort of get confused, but they speak perfect English, so you'll have no struggle when it comes to language at all.
Depending on what part of India you are in, it will actually have their own language. So I know in the south they speak different to how they do in the north, but generally, as we said, they will speak English. In fact, sometimes we've even seen Indian people speaking to Indian people and they'll speak in English. So if you are an English speaker and you go to India, you'll be fine.
So next up on the list is safety, which is really important to mention because you do hear of a lot of horror stories in India about safety, and we were very, very lucky. We never ever felt once threatened or in danger at all in our whole time in India. Again, that was just our personal experience, so I don't know if we just got lucky or not, but yeah, never ever once did we feel unsafe.
We also didn't really act in suspicion of danger or anything. We pretty much did what we wanted, when we wanted, and had no issues at all. The only thing I would say is that in India there is some boundary issues. So for instance, we got asked for selfies an awful lot. They will hound you to buy things, and you know, sometimes they're very, very close. It's not so much that they're threatening you, but it is, you know, very, very annoying. It's
very much in your personal space, and it's like you don't go there. So yeah, as Keelan said, you don't feel unsafe, but it can get really, really irritating.
Another part that kind of, I suppose, will lean into that safety sort of bracket is that people in India will stare at you a lot. So for us, this kind of made us feel, it actually was more annoying, I think, and more makes you feel uncomfortable, right? Like we didn't feel like we were in danger or anything like that. It would just be, we could be on a bus or we could be in the mall or whatever it might be, and people will just look at you, and they look at you for a long period of time. But yeah, it's more annoying, I think, rather than actual danger. But when it comes to safety, I think common sense plays a big role. So if you are in a situation where you feel like, you know, I'm under a bit of threat here or I'm in danger, just leave that situation immediately. But yeah, it just has to be said that in the 3 months that we've been in India, we did have 0 issues whatsoever. So I hope that might make people feel a little bit relaxed when you're thinking about your trip to India. Next up on the list is vaccinations. So to save time, we're going to actually put a list of the vaccinations that we got before we actually started our travels in India and in Asia. Also as well, I'm going to show a picture now of the medication that we brought. I also want to point out that this picture was taken after we got home from India, so we did have a lot of what we brought. We brought them back basically because, like we said, we didn't have any issues in terms of diarrhea or, you know, stomach aches or things like that, so we were totally fine. But I suppose it is nice to have them. It does give you that little bit of peace of mind if you do have a reaction to certain things like food or water or whatever, that you do have some medication there.
Yeah, it's handy to just have them there as a little emergency kit, but you will get doctors and pharmacies everywhere, honestly, and you get medication for really, really cheap over there as well. A couple of times we had to get some like cold and flu medication more so than anything else. I think we brought more stomach tablets away than cold and flu, and that's the only issue we had in terms
towards
of sickness.
the end we had a little bit of a sinus thing, but I think when you're going to India you're more worried about, you know, the stomach area and, you know, diarrhea and stuff like that. But
yeah, we were very, very lucky. But yeah, in terms of medication, you will get what you need over there as well, so don't be worrying.
Number 13 on the list, travel insurance. So yes, it obviously goes without saying that it is best to have some sort of travel insurance, especially when you travel anywhere really, not just India. But we use Safety Wing, so we will leave a link in the description of this video where you can go and check out what sort of cover that you might be interested in. We've used Safety Wing since the beginning of our travels, and yeah, we're big fans. So yeah, if you're looking for the right sort of travel insurance for your trip, check out the link in our description.
So number 14, we're going to talk about clothing. So yeah, you do hear a lot of like rules or people giving you advice on certain clothes that you should wear, and we didn't overthink it at all. We just packed what we wanted to bring and we were totally fine, honestly. So yeah, you do hear of like people are going to stare at you if you wear a certain type of clothing, but like we obviously found that people are going to stare at you anyway, and the clothes have absolutely nothing to do with it. The only certain requirements is if you're entering into temples that you might need to be covered up. So I did bring away like a little sarong with me, and I'd use it as a scarf, or you can throw in a scarf or whatever. I had a mixture of different clothes. I did have long bottoms with me, but also India is very hot, so we did go around in like t-shirt and shorts as well for comfort. And yeah, we'd no issue at all. And if you're out exploring the city and you do happen to be in t-shirt and shorts and you do come across a temple that you want to visit and you don't have the appropriate clothes with you, you can also rent them out at the door, so there's no hassle with that either. So yeah, when it comes to clothes, I honestly wouldn't overthink it. I just dress the way you feel comfortable, and from our experience, again, we just no issue at all.
Number 15 on our list is apps to use. So generally when we were looking for any sort of information, we would just use Google. So if we were looking for a particular restaurant close by, we could just use Google and then, you know, read the reviews and things like that. We would use then Uber for our sort of transport around the area, i.e. like rickshaws or taxis and things like that. Towards the end of our trip, we actually got into ordering food to our hotel or guest house or things like that. So we used an app called Zomato. So yeah, like I said, we didn't use that one too much, but it was definitely the best one for, you know, if you didn't want to go out and get some food, you just wanted to stay in, you could just order some food and it was great. Other than that, that's pretty much all we used. I know there's some people that go to India and have maybe a list of 15 or 20 apps that they use, but like I said, for transport, we would always try and book our tickets in person, so we wouldn't really need an app for that. If we needed to get around the place, we would just use Uber, and then to navigate, we just use Google Maps. So generally,
they were the only
ones, yeah.
Okay, so we're on to number 16 on our list, which is alcohol. So some states in India are actually dry states. We only had a bit of an issue when we were in Kerala. Now, alcohol isn't completely banned from Kerala, but it's just more, there's more restrictions on it and it's a little bit more difficult to get. We began our trip in Kerala and we do love to toast with a drink when we get to a new place. And I think it took us about 3 days to figure out. We thought you couldn't get alcohol at all. We were hearing like different things. Eventually we ended up talking to locals, and they were just explaining the situation that you actually have to go to like a hotel to get a drink where they have a proper license to sell it. But in terms of alcohol, that's the only issue.
Yeah, the rest of our trip in India, there was no problems whatsoever. Number 17, things to do in India. So yes, if you've decided that you're going to India, you will know that there is a hell of a lot to do there. So in our previous video, we actually did a top things to do in India. We'd recommend that you go check that out. It will be a little bit more in detail as to what you can actually do there. We leave the link for that in the description, but yeah, there is so much to do. You can go visit the Taj Mahal, you can do a tour around Rajasthan, you can do a houseboat tour in Kerala, you can explore the beaches in Goa. There is literally so much things to do in India. But yeah, for a more detailed video, go check out the link in our description for that.
Number 18, how long should you stay in India? So we stayed for a total of 3 months. Now again, this is our personal experience, and truth be told, we probably could have done it in 2 months. We just quickly ran out of patience throughout the end of it, honestly, and it was affecting our sort of everyday mood, and we're not really like that as people, so we just knew, right, okay, it's time to leave after 3 months, but yeah, we could have left after 2.
Yeah, I think as we said earlier, India is definitely a love-hate relationship. Some days you absolutely love that you're there, and others you just want to leave. But yeah, I think towards the end, the cons were starting to outweigh the pros. And I think when you arrive to India, you have like 100% patience, and then as the days and weeks go on, it just becomes a little bit smaller. So I think for us towards the end, we were like, okay, I think it's ready. It's time to go, basically.
Just like that there?
Yep. Yep.
Oh.
Oh God.
Woo.
So warm.
But again, yeah, that's our personal experience. People do stay in India for months on end, years, and love it. So that's just
our
view
personal
on it. Yeah.
Number 19, would we go back to India?
And
Yes.
the answer is yes.
100%.
We would, 100%. Yeah, it was only actually when we left India and we were gone. You know, we mentioned obviously in the previous question that like we ran out of patience, but once we were sort of gone out of it and we had that little break, we really began to miss it.
Yeah, it's such a strange feeling, a strange country, the way it just plays with your mind, you know. But it's funny as well, because when we decided to leave India, we had still places to go and visit, but we left because we were beginning to get tired and not in the right frame of mind. So would we go back to India? Yes, absolutely, because there's still so much to see, so much to explore. The great thing about our trip is that we got to speak to so many locals who would recommend places that might be off the beaten track as well. So going back to India is definitely something that we will be doing at some point. We're not too sure when, but India has so much to offer, and yeah, we only seen a tiny fraction of it.
Tiny, even though we've seen so much, like really tiny fraction of it. But yeah, as we mentioned earlier, it's definitely the most interesting place that we've ever visited. So I think anyone that goes will probably have that relationship with it, where it's like you leave and it's like, oh my God, I have to go back there. It's so different but so amazing.
Number 20, should you go to India? So it's probably obvious if you are watching this video that you are seriously considering going to India, and yeah, we kind of touched on it in the last couple of points as well. Definitely go to India. Don't be afraid. It has so much to offer, and I think if you do go to India, that you will love it.
Again, as we mentioned, it is one of the most amazing places we've ever visited, and I think you'll feel the same as well. Hopefully you'll have as good as an experience as we had, you know, and hopefully by us making these travel guides, it will help you as well plan your trip. I think if you're the type of person that loves to travel and loves new experiences and learning about new cultures, well then definitely throw yourself into India, you know, I really do think so.
It's a challenge, it's difficult at times, it has some of the most unbelievable places that you've ever seen. It has some of the best food that you will ever eat. Some of the people are so friendly and so nice. They are always willing to help, always willing to understand your position as a foreigner in their country and to try and help as much as possible. As we said already, there is some negatives to it where it's just relentless in terms of people wanting to buy things and, you know, drive you here, or selfies was one thing that we came across as well. So it kind of has extremes in every single department. But I think one thing that we always say is once if you travel in India, I think you'll be able to travel pretty much anywhere else in the world. Yeah,
we felt ready after we left India. We were like, I think we could travel anywhere now. Do you know that way? So I know it's just a great feeling, and yeah, I would highly recommend it. I think it's worth to travel to India for the masala chai alone.
Oh yes, for sure. That would be our number one thing that we took away from India as our most favourite thing. It was just absolutely amazing.
Yes.
We did a India travel series on our YouTube channel, and I think pretty much every single video was dedicated to some part of it was dedicated to having masala choy or something like that, and people were commenting and saying that we were well and truly hooked, which we were.
Yes.
So yeah, that is worth the flight alone. But yeah, speaking of our India travel series, go check them out. We visited so many places and did so many videos. We'll leave the link to our India playlist in the video description. Also, if you are going to India, let us know in the comment section if you have anything you want to ask us or anything that we may not have covered in this video. Leave it in the comments below and we'll get back to you with an answer.
We still have many more travel guides to come from India as well, so make sure to keep an eye out on the channel for them. We've broken them out sort of into different categories because we did do so much and there's just so much information to give away.
So yeah, if you like this video, please leave a thumbs up. It's just a great way to support our channel. You can also follow us on Instagram and also on TikTok and on Facebook.
And don't forget to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of our future uploads. And we're going to say goodbye for now, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.